now tuned in to the cold, hard truth. Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips@caymanmarlroad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
Friday, we are Blake and Aaron, and talking about potential tropical storm warning for tonight.
Yes.
Crept up on us really quick from yesterday, so we'll update you on that in just a second.
Big news. I have some important news for you.
Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
Cayman's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Morning, Sandy.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
How you doing?
Beautiful, beautiful. How are you?
We are good as well.
Nice.
So what's the latest? What's going on?
Oh my gosh, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
That it's just like, whoa, take a minute to give us, a breather here. Storms.
Yeah, it always happens at
as
once,
said.
right?
Nothing or all.
It's either
I know.
all or nothing.
All or nothing. That's how that goes.
Yeah.
Aaron always says the saying's wrong. That's
I
fine.
do say.
I'm here to correct her.
I mean, it's all five.
But yes, it's happening. It's the weather. It's the press briefing yesterday. It's COVID discussions, vaccine discussions. Everything's happening all at once.
Yeah, let's get your thoughts on the press conference yesterday. Anything new in there that piqued your interest?
Well, I thought it was very interesting how they had the Minister of Education there for the first time with this group, and how she shared some very personal stories in terms of her own experiences with having lost, people in her life who apparently had COVID. And then they had Dr. Charles there, who is a COVID survivor. Mm-hmm. And I thought that those personal stories were critical for people to get a glimpse into what this really is. I keep saying that we've lived in this bubble that has unfortunately shielded us from a reality that is like lurking right around the corner for us. So I think that was interesting. No significant surprises, really. We're moving forward with the plan. And that was to be expected. I think a lot of people, it's now kind of setting in a little bit that we are reopening and it's right around the corner. So
I mean, I got a little nervous when it was pretty black and white. We're opening October 14th. There will be COVID here.
Yeah,
of course
there will be. But how?
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, we've got COVID here now. It's just that we're containing it as much as we can with travelers.
And you need to get vaccinated, because the problem is if it is here and then all of a sudden our hospitals are overwhelmed. And then people with all, like we talked about, with other issues can't get in. And so, you can still get COVID while vaccinated.
Yeah.
But chances of death are so low. And that's really the point, because everyone keeps talking about, well, you can still get it with the vaccines. Like, yes, but that's not, I mean, I still see people saying that. It's like, that's not what, no one's talking about that anymore, because that's not the point. The point is death. No one wants to die from it or get long COVID.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And,
and then your kids.
It's,
So here's the thing. Do you know the answer to this? So they're still getting positive tests from travelers that are coming in. Like there were 2 yesterday, right?
Right.
So when flights come in, are they still testing those people?
This right now?
No, like in October 14th.
Oh my gosh. I need to
I don't think there's ever been a flight that has come in recent history that hasn't had at least one positive test on there.
But once we start opening up and we have all those flights coming back in, that's going to be a lot of testing.
Yeah, I mean, what they're doing now, the test results that you see is at the end of the quarantine period, which is really, really interesting, because it means that people are testing negative at the initial entry point, that 72-hour mark, beforehand. And then they're testing positive after that 5-day quarantine, at least the 5-day quarantine. So, I mean, it does beg the question of, that incubation period still being so incredibly critical. Once that incubation period goes away, I mean, in my mind, it's almost like, how many people are they going to catch at that stage 1? You know what I mean? Because I think the vast majority of people right now they're catching after the quarantine, or when the quarantine is going to be up. It's not beforehand. Not the vast majority, everybody, because they wouldn't let you in a plane if you tested positive when you were entering.
Yeah, 72 hours.
So I mean, when you think about that,
42 or
when you think about that, Blake, does it matter then if they're testing when people are coming in? Because 5 days later they're showing positive.
Yeah.
Well, are they requiring a negative test to get on the plane?
I'm gonna double check that, because I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to misspeak on what the full plan is.
That's obviously a safeguard that's going away.
Yes.
Wait, so they're not going to require like a PCR test before getting on a plane?
We're gonna double check, Aaron. We don't want to say not quite yet.
Okay.
We've got a reopening plan. So give me, I'll double check and I'll let you guys know for sure.
Okay.
But I kind of feel like I don't think it's a requirement.
I think the airlines will probably require you. Do they not do that now?
Well, you know what is so interesting? I was just reading this morning that there's a particular airline that's going to charge you $200 if you don't provide them with if you're unvaccinated.
No, if
you're going to get charged an additional $200.
No, so what it is I know what you're talking about. I read
what
this
airline
too.
is it?
It's American, and what they're doing is unvaccinated staff. They're making
staff. Yes,
they're making them pay $200 extra for health insurance if they're unvaccinated. So they're not. So they're charging them extra because obviously,
right?
They possibly will be the ones that will need the
Yeah. And I guess at the end of the day as well, like they're having to do extra stuff for them, PCR testing, and they're costing the company money.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I think it's kind of fair. I mean, I wouldn't complain about it.
I mean, do you guys think like maybe next year we're all going to be carrying around pocket PCR tests where we just swab it and then drop it off at a location? And
potentially. For sure.
Yeah.
I've never had a test like COVID test. Have you, Blake?
I did.
You did.
I
Yeah,
had
I
that.
haven't either. I've
And
not
you
had
haven't
one.
either, Sandy? Yeah.
Why did I have to have a
Why
test?
did you have to
It
have a test?
it doesn't look pleasant at all.
You have to
I
go to
can't
the
imagine
hospital?
having to do that every single week.
No,
I'm
for
like,
sure.
ew.
Why did I have a test?
Did you just do it for
Oh,
fun?
I know I had to have a test because I mean, I'm gonna throw it out there because I had my 50-year-old colonoscopy.
Oh, yeah. So you had to go to the hospital.
I was in surgery, so I had to have the test done. Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are
Wow.
those are fun times.
I mean,
Colonoscopies.
it wasn't the test wasn't super. I mean, it was so quick.
It depends on who you get. Some people
It
kind
was
of
it was
gets up
it
there.
was a bit uncomfortable, and it brought a tear to my eye. but it was over so fast that it was like, okay, you're done.
Yeah.
You know, it was a very long
The
Q-tip.
ones I always saw on TV looked very painfully slow.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, no, they've got it down at the hospital at HSA. They know what
Okay.
they're doing.
Yeah, because anytime you go to the hospital now, like if you're admitted, you have to have that negative test or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It was
Mm-hmm.
it was for surgery.
Because even like kids, I know my friends who have kids have had to go into the hospital. They even have to get their test done, and poor little things.
So yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot to digest, and certainly, hopefully, that moved some people yesterday to think about getting vaccinated. So, do we know if everybody in cabinet in government is vaccinated?
So let me answer your question regarding PCR tests. So phase 3, which was planned for September the 9th, but is moving back a little bit, will require pre-arrival PCR tests required for all. Arrival PCR tests no longer required, and quarantine exit PCR test, it says required for all, and you must be authorized transport or drive yourself. So that's what it says on the reopening phase 3.
Yeah.
Limited introduction of tourism.
What's the 14th though?
Up to weekly PCR tests for unvaccinated frontline workers. Yikes.
So what about?
Would you do the PCR test every week if you? Do you think it was that comfortable enough of an experience that you do it every week?
Would I do it every week? I mean, if I needed to, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like it was that bad.
Yeah. I mean, it clears you out a little bit. Yeah. It's
And
like having one of those neti pots, but with a gigantic.
Yeah.
somebody doing it for you.
God,
Blake.
It's like I could never be a dentist or orthodontist or anything. I could never be the person that has to shove anything up someone's nose either.
Yeah, I'm gonna check your colon, but I'm gonna go through your
or
nostril.
your butt. Man, I couldn't do the butt thing either. No, there's actually, you know what? It's
like
medical things are not my thing.
It's
Let's
like
just put it that way.
You know what it's like? It's like a colonoscopy.
Maybe just babies. Like we could check babies out.
No,
you know?
It's
they normally don't
any of
require
that
too much.
either.
It's a colonoscopy for your nose.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Is what
colonoscopy for your nose.
PCR test.
Oh my God, that is.
First I had one for my nose, then I had one, the normal one. Wow. Tomorrow, for Old School Fridays, we're going back to 1995. So I want you to pick a song tomorrow when we talk to you. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Remember where I was in 1995? Oh, I was in university. I was just about trying to finish up at USF. The Bulls.
Gangster's Paradise, Coolio, TLC.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that has to be. I don't even have to think about it. That's the song. That's my song right there. I was so into that
one of
song.
The best
Seal,
albums.
Kiss from a Rose.
Gangster Paradise, 100%. I've already decided.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the movie. What was the movie? Dangerous Minds.
That's a good one.
There was a movie with it? I don't even remember that.
Gangster's Paradise was the theme song for Dangerous Minds. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Huh.
Well, you don't remember Michelle Pfeiffer was in the video for
I don't remember the movie, but I remember the song. So.
The movie was so good. Yeah.
Boys to Men.
Well, put me down. That's my request.
Go and watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. Good song.
That's my request from now.
All right, cool. Hey, by the way, for just going, because we were talking about the vaccines, the Savannah MLA office today, 4 to 7 to get a vaccine. Tomorrow, Camana Bay. And then on Saturday at the airport. So there you go. There's the options. Go and get jabbed.
Awesome.
Sandy, I know you got a busy show. We're going to let you get to it.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
TMR now on Facebook and YouTube.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
All right, guys. That's Blake and Aaron over at KISS 106.1. Good morning, James. Joining us from Canada. Good morning, Miss Joy. How are you? Miss Joy says no cure for the virus. The vaccine is is given to prevent the severity of it, or at least reduce. Can still catch it, but should not do that bad. We're dying from not taking the vaccine. So why not take it and hope to live? Good question. Louis, good morning from Detroit. Louis, I need to contact your sister. I've been so busy. My apologies. I'm hoping I can get to her today or tomorrow. I've got a doctor's appointment later on today, so let me see how today goes. A friend has some mangoes for me. She's like, Sandy, I've got some green mangoes for you, and you need to come and get your mangoes. Oh, no. Hello, Kayleen. How are you? Delta Airlines. Ooh, what a hot mess. Negative test from New York, traveling international. Hello, Beverly. Rashid says, what's the situation when you get to 50 or 100, 250 and a community spread occurs? Your vaccinated folks can still catch it and die of COVID, especially the elderly and people who are immunocompromised. Well, that's why they're telling you, go get vaccinated. But let me share something with you. Let me share a headline with you all that you will probably find interesting. Let me show you. ATM card found. Hold on. The person's going to send me the details on that. So, yes. So this person has been trying to get me some green mangoes. I'm like, child, by the time I get to you, those mangoes are going to be ripe. And an avocado. And you know, avocados, they do not stay well. You know, like you got to eat them. When an avocado is ripe, you need to get to it like that day, because avocados overripe very, very easily. I love me an avocado, but not an overripe avocado. And they're the hardest things to catch when they're not overripe. Buenos dias to Alba. ¿Cómo estás? Yo estoy bien. Muchas gracias. Tiffany is here. Hey, Tiffany. Yes, thank you for that. I was trying to remember. I wasn't physically at the press briefing yesterday because that traffic, can I tell you that traffic was horrific. Oh, are we done with that, CUC? Please tell me yes. That was like the worst traffic I've encountered in a really, really long time. And unfortunately, I had to be in it twice yesterday. Not once, but twice. How incredibly frustrating was that? It was crazy. Like, it took me to get from Industrial Park to West Bay Road. I felt like it took me like an hour. Bumper to bumper. And then when I was leaving, I had to go back into Central Town. And because, you know, the waterfront was closed off, basically, I got stuck in it yet again. I was like, OMG. I couldn't take it. I was like, seriously? Have a look at this. I'm going to mute my mic for one quick second, and then we're going to discuss it. Yes, folks. So, apologies for that. I had to grab the link to send to my WhatsApp group. And whenever I do that, because I'm actually opening the show in another page, you get all this feedback. So I thought, I'll just mute it for a quick second. All right. So here's what we got, folks. This physician, and I know y'all love Fox News. Some of y'all, that's your Bible. So Fox News publishes it, then it's good news. That's how y'all see it, right? So we're going to share news from everybody. Fox News, this physician, Dr. What's his name? Hold on. Oh, you can't see it. Let me see. Dr. Jason Wilson. He's at Tampa General Hospital. Hey, Tampa, that's where I grew up, folks. That's my old stomping grounds. I spent 15 years of my life in Tampa. It's changed a lot since I left, but it's like lots of fond memories. Anyway, he says, just like we've done with polio, smallpox, meningitis, mumps, and measles, everything else we've moved past as a society, we've done through vaccination. He also goes on to say that I'm admitting patients to the hospital every day who have not been vaccinated for COVID. And I have yet to admit, incubate, or take care of a critically ill patient who is that way because of a vaccine side effect. So again, everybody's trying to put this narrative out there about taking the vaccine. And I think this is a stark reminder of the realities of it. Now, I'm going to say something to you guys. And I know based on the ridiculousness of people at times, I should preface this comment with a little bit of don't you all get up in your feelings about it. So yesterday, where's Al Ray? Is Al Ray here? Morning, John. Dorothy from Florida. Man, Florida is getting hit hard. Catherine, thank you so much. James from Canada joining us. So, sometimes I share information on this show and people believe that they're psychic and they know what I'm talking about, which is so interesting. Let me assure you that some people don't have a clue. Now, y'all know who I'm talking about already. And I'm going to call names. You see, this is a thing. Like when I make a statement, like a general statement, somebody doesn't have a high school diploma, and then that hits like 10 people in the community, and poor Mario Rankin thinks I'm talking about him. I was like, what? Someone legit called me yesterday and said that Mario said, they caught half the conversation, that you were saying he doesn't have a high school degree and this and that. I was like, what? Honestly, I was shocked. I'm like, Mario doesn't have a high school. First of all, that's news to me. I never knew that. I mean, he talks like someone who has a friggin' PhD. He must suffer from that Dunning-Kruger syndrome. You know what that is? It's a cognitive bias where people with limited knowledge or competence in a given intellectual social domain greatly exaggerate their capabilities. Y'all go look it up. This is a known thing. Big shout out to my cousin Tanisha. She would find this conversation very, very interesting. Many, many years ago, we came across this term, and her and I always have a chuckle whenever we see someone that fits the bill. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about here. Oh, why is my screen flickering like that? Hold on a second. Oh, child, that was like giving me an epileptic seizure almost. What the hell? So read up on this, right? You guys understand cognitive biases. If you don't, we've talked about it a little bit on the show. People with limited knowledge or competence in a given intellectual or social domain greatly overestimate their own knowledge or competence in that domain relative to objective criteria or to the performance of their peers or people in general. So this was after some psychologists by the name of David Dunning and Justin Kruger did a bit of research. And so basically it demonstrated that people who should, in the least possible position to speak on an issue, they're often the ones who are putting themselves forward as experts. Listen to what it says. The effect is explained by the fact that the metacognitive ability to recognize deficiency in one's own knowledge or competence requires that one possesses at least a minimum level of the same kind of knowledge or competence. which those who exhibit the effect have not attained. Deep, very, very deep, folks. Because you are unaware of your deficiencies, such people generally assume that they're not deficient. What would Caribbean say? There's a Caribbean saying. Help me remember what it is now. In keeping with the tendency of most people to choose what they think is the most reasonable and optimal option. This phenomenon is familiar from ordinary life. Sayings like, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge, says Charles Darwin. And we have a Caribbean saying for this. Oh my gosh, what is it? Oh Lord. There is a Caribbean version. Help me out, folks. Y'all know. Come on, Caribbean people. It's almost like you don't know what you don't know kind of thing, but yet you think you know it. All right, put my thinking cap on. Hey, Jonathan, what's up? Jonathan's like, I'm here. Jake, I haven't seen you in a minute, so good to see you. John Henry, Alice says, good morning, everyone. Dion is here. Anyway, it'll come to me or one of you will remind me. So basically, it's like a fool doesn't know that they're a fool or something. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not calling Mario a fool. And the God's truth is, I don't even want to address Mario because I care so little about him. He is inconsequential to my world and my existence, but I just want to alleviate his concerns. Since he appeared particularly concerned yesterday that I may have been referring to him when I said that, people, or I don't know if I said people or someone who doesn't even have a high school diploma. Mario, you outed yourself because I honestly had no idea that you didn't have a high school diploma. I never knew that. And so I wasn't talking about you. But Caribbean people also have a saying about who to cap fit. And when you throw a rock in a pig pen, whoever squeals the loudest. When you're insecure in your own abilities, unfortunately, when people make these general comments, you feel like they're talking about you. When in fact, and I can tell you 1,000%, I could prove that I'm not talking about him because ironically, just on Monday, I had a conversation with a group of individuals and I said the exact same thing, but in that setting, I actually said who it was that I was talking about. And I've got a cousin named Beth. Her and I have had a conversation about this individual who thinks they know everything about everything. Hit a dog, gonna holla. Yes, Rachel. Caribbean people would say it slightly differently, but more or less. Here's the thing. I'm not trying to demean or degrade anyone about their credentials. I've also said on this program that we have some serious educated fools in the community. Having a piece of paper and having a degree doesn't mean that you have common sense, for example. The two are not necessarily in tandem. However, when someone wants to speak on scientific issues, such as COVID and diseases, and they're not a medical physician, they're not even a nurse, they're not an epidemiologist, they fall into none of those specialty categories, and yet they purport themselves to have expert knowledge, and they wish for you to believe them in their expert knowledge. You got to be careful. Right? And that was the point that I was trying to make. I wasn't saying, because someone doesn't have a high school diploma, doesn't mean that they can't go out there and get something done or do something or whatever. And everybody can talk, child. I'm sitting here talking to y'all right now. Everyone has a mouth. Well, most of y'all. You have a mouth and you have the ability to say a lot of different things. Doesn't make you an expert. Doesn't mean that people should really listen to what you're saying. And the other thing is, it doesn't mean that people are necessarily taking the steps to investigate. A lot of people are just regurgitating what other people, my apologies, are saying to them. You know how many times I get something that has been forwarded like, oh, Sandy, look at this. This has been forwarded. I'm going to give you all an example, right? I'm going to pick on one of my little friends now. He always be sending me some good juicy news, child. I'm going to pick on him this morning. I'm not going to call his name, but I'm going to go back and look at our chat conversations because he sent me something the other day, and I'm just going to give you this as an example of how quick people are to accept fake and false information, right? And the very minimum that you can do is to do a little bit of research. To me, that can't be hard in this day and age, right? But look at this. Let me show you something. So my little friend sends me this, and he's like, oh my gosh, look at this, Sandy. 60% of UK's newly hospitalized patients are fully vaccinated. And this is where I'm telling y'all now, common sense, not really all that common. Because the second I looked at this, and it's very, very deceptive because in the background, they have this screenshot of CNBC, and you're like, oh, yes, they're a reputable news agency. Whatever they say, you must believe. Let me tell you, believe nothing until you verified it. It's as simple as that. So I looked at that and I thought, okay. First of all, I hadn't heard it. And I do an incredible amount of research, probably more than I should. Some days I feel like my brain is just like, honey child, can we just go on a vacation to Little Cayman and not read or do anything? And then I said to him, let me have a look before you go forwarding that to all of Cayman. Boom. So one individual accidentally said something. And the media jumped on it, right? With this headline, of course, because it supports their narrative, anti-vaxxers start to slap a label on it and start to circulate that because that helps their position. Does this help their position? That Sir Patrick Vallance told a news conference that 60% of coronavirus-related hospitalization admissions were double jab people, but he later corrected himself? No, honey child. The truth never helps certain people. Now, if you read a little bit further, you can see for yourself the video evidence of what transpired. Let's look at it, right? If we want to dabble in saying, well, this is what the position is, then let's just make sure we do it right. Check this out.
In terms of the number of people in hospital who've been double vaccinated, we know it's around 60% of the people being admitted to hospital with COVID have been double vaccinated. And that's not surprising because the vaccines are not 100% effective. They're very, very effective, but not 100%. And as a higher proportion of the population is double vaccinated, it's inevitable that those 10% of that very large number remain at risk and therefore will be amongst the people who both catch the infection and end up in hospital. So whilst vaccines are very effective at reducing severe disease, they're also effective at reducing the chance of catching it and reducing the chance of passing it on, but they're slightly less effective at doing that than they are at preventing severe disease. And so what we will see as we get the let's say if everybody over the 18 had taken up the vaccine, then of course anybody who caught it would be double vaccinated. So the answer is that we should expect to see a higher proportion of people in hospital and catching the infection who are double vaccinated. That is inevitable that we will see that because of the less than 100% efficacy of the vaccines overall.
Was it not a little bit obvious to people that he was actually, he was saying a lot there, child. I had to listen to him a couple times in that 1 minute and 21 second clip. But he basically misspoke. He later corrected himself on Twitter, saying the original statistic was false. And he said, correcting a statistic I gave earlier at a press conference on July the 19th, about 60% of hospitalizations from COVID are not from double vaccinated people. Rather, 60% of hospitalizations from COVID are currently from unvaccinated people. I mean, he just got it wrong. He misspoke. And I've said this before. This was at a press conference, a press briefing where Boris Johnson was there. You know, I say this all the time, folks. Sometimes we misspeak. And he posted it on Twitter, but you know how it goes, Chow. Nobody ain't looking at Twitter after the video is already out there with a little bit of incorrect information. In the moment, even if you have a prepared speech and you have prepared notes, there will be times that you will still get it wrong. Like I'm sitting here speaking to you right now, real time, no delays. This isn't TV. We're not delayed, right? And there are times that my brain is saying one thing and my mouth says something completely gibberish or completely wrong. And isn't it weird how you hear yourself? I mean, obviously you hear yourself as you're speaking, but the brain is like processing it a little couple delayed seconds later. And then sometimes you don't catch it at all. Like the brain can fool you into thinking, I said this. And everybody else is like, no, you didn't. You said something else. So that's just an example of why you just need to be careful where you're getting your information from. Don't be so quick to circulate things that are out there. Like somebody was saying to me yesterday about Fauci's wife. The conspiracies that people have to rely upon, right? To believe that there is something wrong with this vaccine, to me, is just astronomical in terms of it blows your mind that anyone would put this kind of time into it. So there's a whole narrative out there. This was actually the first time I'd heard this one yesterday, but about Fauci's wife being the one who approved the COVID vaccine. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Anyway, we won't even get into that one. We're going to be doing a video series, folks, and this is what has Mario upset. Let me just wrap up the whole Mario situation. We're going to be doing a video series on a lot of the misinformation that's out there, because those persons on the other end, especially in the local community, are pumping out that information like, I don't know what, like very, very hard. And I suppose that they might be somewhat effective with, people. But if you don't get the facts and the opposite narrative, what are your options? So we did a video correcting every single thing really that Mario said in one of his shows. And I guess he got upset about that. And I don't know if he was listening to the show yesterday or not and heard me speak of, a person who doesn't even have a high school education. And he automatically, because of his own issues, thought that I was speaking about him. So to clarify the record, I wasn't speaking about him. I ordinarily don't think about him. I don't engage him. A few weeks ago, he was, you need to come on my show because, we have so much in common. I'd like to set that record straight as well. Mario and I have, I would imagine, other than probably being two Caymanians, we probably have zero in common in terms of our methodologies, how we think, probably even the life that we have lived. All right. And I don't want to get into any details because I'm not going to pick him apart like I could if I really wanted to. But we are nothing alike. Anybody who knows me knows I'm actually, I don't like to say this because then you're like, well, what humble person says they're a humble person? But I'm a fairly humble person. Some other people, I'm not so sure that would be a word that you could use to describe them. So I think he's in arms because we did this video and he thinks, personally attack. That's his methodology. He's personally attacked a little kid, a 16-year-old kid named John Flemings, who is over at Real Cayman News, because John doesn't support this anti-vaxxer movement. A 16-year-old kid he's gone after. He's gone after the premier with a vengeance about how he got him into office. The inflated ego, folks, is like, wow, I got the premier elected. Damn. Well, Wayne Panton, I guess you know better. He has attacked, I mean, there's a list already, and his show hasn't been around that long. Now, you guys know I'm this kind of person. And this goes back from when I was a little girl. You would never find me picking a fight. That's just not me. I don't pick fights with people, but I finish fights with people. So I always say this: you come for me and I never send for you, I'm going to finish you. Right? So I'm going to put the corrective information out there, and I'm just going to be like, listen, let me just set the record straight. Sometimes do I go below the belt? Yes. I'm also a very honest person. I can admit that, right? I get offended and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for the jugular. And I can be that kind of person. I think this is a little bit of a Leo trait. Somebody else was saying this to me yesterday. I don't even know when her birthday is, but she's like, I bring a gun to a knife fight. I can be that. I can be a little bit like that, I think, at times, where I'm going to just drop the atomic bomb on it because I figure we're going to just dust it and be done and move on. And oftentimes I just say what I have to say because I'm not one of those people who likes to hold things in. I think it's actually bad for you if you hold certain things in. Like, it's bad for your little heart. Your little ticker is not going to do well. And so I suspect that if I had anything to say about Mario, he would have known about it way before now. And there has been times when I have said something about Mario, like when he cursed at the governor. You guys remember that, his tirade about the governor. In case you have forgotten that, he had a profanity-laced message to the governor. I mean, it was quite something else. Now, I don't need to replay it for y'all, because I'm sure if you really wanted it, you could go on CMR and listen to it for yourself. So, Mario, feel free. This is just it. Feel free to continue doing your show. No one is, I'm not, I shouldn't say no one. I'm not focused on you. You're in a very different space than I am. You're in a different little corner. You're no threat to me, honey child. There would be no reason for me to talk about you. What we talked about in the video, and this is where you have a little bit of an issue distinguishing two things now, common sense, is we talked about your narrative on the COVID vaccine. We didn't talk about you. And they're two very different things, my friend. So chillax, relax yourself. People get very uncomfortable when they're like, oh, here we have two Caymanians going at each other, going head to head. I have no interest in you whatsoever. But like I said, you come for me and I never called for you. You know what's going to be next. So this is my nice way of saying, just go back to your little corner and behave yourself. Now, let me say something, though. I want to encourage anyone who might be kind of like a Mario, who only has a high school diploma, that, at any time you want, you can actually change that. Or doesn't have a high school diploma. My apologies. He doesn't have one. Many, many years ago, I was discussing this issue, how at that time, the only way to do your, what do they call it here? GCX, whatever the heck it is. Listen, I know very little about the English education system, but, child, we're not going with that allegation. That one might land me in court for real, but we've heard all kind of stories. But anyway, we're not going there. Many years ago, I said the only way that you could get a high school diploma, if you didn't already have one, was apparently to go to jail. Because in Northwood Prison, they have a program, or they had one to get your GED equivalent, right? Or whatever it's called in the UK. So I brought up a big stink about it, because I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. If I've not had the opportunity for whatever reason to finish my high school education, to get my degree. I don't know if I think he might have spent some time in the States. I don't really know his history like that in terms of his childhood, right? But there are online programs now. And I think that some of the local schools give you the opportunity, even as an adult, to go back and get it. And I would love to see the government offer more adult programming like this, where you could go back and get your GED, complete your high school, get that little piece of paper, and further your education if you wish. Because that's my hope for everybody, is we're always on a lifelong journey. Sometimes it is an actual piece of paper that someone gives you, and other times it's just learning through other methods in life. So I would encourage Mario and everybody else out there without a high school diploma to seriously consider getting one. And I think that as a community, we need to support people like that. So Mario, I'm behind you 1,000% for that GED. Seriously. Anything I can do to help, please let me know. Ms. Carol says common sense lacks in this day and age. Celine, good morning, my love. How are you? Yes, who the cap fit? Let them wear it. We're going to talk about the weather here in a second. Do you also know that on social media, there is a whole war going on, folks? Oh, my Lord. Yesterday, I was reading up on it. And apparently late last night, ooh, child. Apparently late last night, there was messages circulating about Dr. Frank and his comments on social media, and he was attacking the minister and deputy premier. I don't know. Let's just say that sometimes it's just hot. Social media is hot, child. Bob says, so you admit that you talk shit then? Well, don't we all sometimes? I'm not going to lie about it. Sometimes we do, and this program, not so much so. But I think we're all capable of talking shit on occasion. Oh, wait a minute, Bob. Was that supposed to be an insulting comment? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get insulted by it. Try again. Try again, Bobo. Beverly, I don't know what that question is in reference to. Aliano says, the problem is how society we're easily affected by lies and form our own mistrust. They out there damn near bust their ass on the crate challenge for clout, saying a lot about our intelligence. That's kind of sad, but yes, we talked about the crate challenge. Oh, I see, Fakian, what you're saying. So the people you know are dying from COVID, so you're afraid to answer the phone from Jamaica. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you guys know that we have family in Jamaica as well. So, and in the US, we actually have a cousin in Tampa, my husband's cousin. His wife is a nurse, and she's on the front line of this in Tampa. You know, Florida's at the forefront of the new wave. And I also have my sister-in-law, my husband's brother. He's married to a nurse, and they've since moved from Jamaica to the States. And she's on the forefront of it as well. She's I think she's an ICU nurse. I think that was her specialty. But anyway, any nursing professional, any medical professional right now, it's a little bit crazy in terms of, you know, being on the front line. It is scary because you do not know when you're going to get a phone call. I think for sure that both of them have been vaccinated because they're not that crazy. Thank you, Everton. Everton says, yes, don't waste your time talking about certain people because sometime in popularity is down. They buy you talking about them. They think they increase their popularity. Yes. No, I get it. I totally get it. Sometimes the point that Everton is making is that when people are looking attention and they're not getting that attention themselves, what they then do is try to attach themselves to someone who they see as having that clout. It happens all the time on social media. I see it. And they think that by making disparaging comments about someone that they can bring out all the haters and whatever. But honey, child, we not business with no haters on this program, child. We got 264 people right now listening, and more will watch it later. And we just keep it moving. Thank you, Sabrina. Says that you were correcting his information, which is very different than you attacking him. Thank you for doing the video. RK, clear the air. Thank you. I appreciate that people did understand that. Miss Perla, using her CMR mug. You go, girl. Yes, it's a bag of madness. Buenos dias. Señorita Maritza. Juanita. Yes, child. Let's talk about this weather system. Hazard Management has just issued a message here to say that the National Hurricane Center is advising that the broad area of low pressure located 150 miles southwest of Jamaica is showing signs of organization and conditions conducive for additional development. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Folks, we are still out there cleaning up, trying to get back to what we were before last week, and this is coming, it looks like, right at us. Wow. When I saw the image this morning, I'm like, are you kidding me? How did this happen overnight? And it's just a reminder that, this is the season to be prepared. Don't take it lightly, folks. And I was also saying this on yesterday's program, that this is also precisely why you want to ensure that you have cleaned up as much of the debris around your house as possible. Folks, call Reliable Industries. They're going to help you clean it up with a professional chipper, professional staff who know how to safely do it, and also who can move quickly. Because guess what? The storm is coming. Room for development, they say. Here, give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up what we know about this system. So tropical depression or tropical storm is expected to form later today or tonight, while the system moves northwestward, reaching the Cayman Islands tonight. What? Huh? It's like, are you kidding me? So they have issued a tropical storm warning. Wait, let me correct that. The National Hurricane Center is advising that a tropical storm warning could be required for the Cayman Islands later this morning. Y'all see the cloudiness already outside? I'm looking out the window and I see a big black cloud in the sky. So currently we have a severe weather bulletin in effect for the Cayman Islands, and the Cayman Islands National Weather Service is urging residents to prepare for locally heavy rainfall and flooding and very rough seas, which will begin to affect the Cayman Islands later today and tonight. So you should be utilizing your time this morning to prepare. I'm just like, are you people kidding me right now? Another system? So quick? What a hot mess. Yep. That's what it is. Thursday morning. And the thing is, because we have so much debris around the place, I'm particularly concerned about that. And you know, try to clean. It's a projectile, so try to clean it up. Because otherwise, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be worse than it was. Hopefully not worse in the sense that, we had some winds kicking up, folks. A lot of you recognize that we might not have had sustained hurricane force winds, but we had winds that were like, woo, enough to, so we might not have that this time, but we already soaked and everything else. So it's like, Carol says, good morning, Carol. Good morning, Nathina. Carol says, I work in healthcare and got out of the facility work and went to in-home because COVID does scare the hell out of me. And facilities where you have so many more people, it's just so much more dangerous. Perla says, you sound so cute talking Spanish, Sandy. You go, girl. Muchas gracias, mi amor. I did study Spanish I did 3 years in high school. And I actually used to be very, very good. Like I could hold a little proper mini conversation, right? But when I got to university, Paloma went from Cat 4 in an instant. Yeah, true. When I went to university, I was trying to save money because I was a poor university student and made a lot of sacrifices to get the couple pieces of paper I have, child. So when people talk about, well, they never had opportunities in life, I'm like, yes. And there were those of us who didn't have opportunities either. And we didn't know where our next meal was coming from in university. But one thing we knew, that piece of paper actually means something in the world. So you better get it. I mean, that was ingrained in my head from a very early stage. So even if I had to not go without food for a couple of days or beg my friends for pizza, or work full time, become a resident assistant to have room and board covered, I did what I had to do. Anyway, when I got to university, I was like, I can't afford like all these, sometimes when you're in university, you want to take a class just for fun. Like, that sounds like an interesting class. Can I just take that just because I'm interested in that subject matter? But when you're on a budget, child, you have to think logically about what your options are. And so when I did the exam, because you have to do a foreign language in university, you have to do foreign language, you have to do like a semester or two of math credits, of English language. Like there's the first 2 years, there are certain things that are required for your degree to make you more well-rounded. So you don't just jump into like your specific degree or area of study. And I remember taking the exam, the entrance exam for Spanish, so that they know where to place you. And they would have had to put me in Spanish level 3 at the college level. So apparently that exempted me from the foreign language requirement. I still had to make up the credit somewhere else, but I didn't have to take the foreign language. So child, at that point, I'm like, oh, I need to save a couple of dollars. No problem. So I ended up doing another course called Greek and Latin root words. Oh, it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, to be honest. I thought, oh, this is going to be a breeze. It wasn't a breeze, but it was still a very good class. So yes, my Spanish used to be really on fleek. Back in the day. I've lost a lot of it because I don't have anybody to really practice with but if I go to, I remember when I went to Honduras for a number of years ago, I was at the Pico Bonita Lodge, and I think that was in Saiba, right? And the tour guide, we stayed on property there for the duration of the trip. Really nice place. I was sad to hear recently that they closed a number of years ago because it was really nice. But anyway, we would go and she'd give us tours every day of like the butterfly garden and all this other stuff. Oh my God, agoutis were everywhere in that property. Beautiful. And she said to me, like sometimes she would say certain things in Spanish and whatever, and she could see that I understood a lot of what she was saying. And like sometimes I would respond to her. And she said, I bet you if you came to any Spanish speaking country, Honduras, whatever, and you did like a full immersion course for like maybe even 6 months or a year, she said, girl, you'd be fluent in Spanish because you have the foundation, you have a lot of the pronunciation down pat. You could really do well with this. And I thought, that's interesting if I had the time. Anyway, child. I don't have the time, but sometimes, there's a lot of ways of doing non-traditional learning. So I should warn you right now that my brain is multitasking. So you know what that means. As Bob says, I might start talking shit, might start talking gibberish, but you guys will forgive me because my other writer is obviously busy at the moment. And I want to put up this weather story on the website because not everybody's reading the show right now. And people need to have this information. This is quite critical. So as I'm talking to you, I am writing at the same time, which is it's not an easy task because they're almost they must use the same side of the brain, but they almost what's the word I'm looking for? You see how I had to stop writing when I'm like really trying to find a word? They are almost pulling in the opposite directions because they probably are using the same resources that I feel like my brain is slowing down a little bit. Yeah. That's what's happening. But I felt like this story is so much more important. So yes, that's what's happening. This is when I feel like I could use CC in the program to kind of fill in a little bit. Just give me a quick second. I'm going to be done with this in a minute. I just want to make sure that it reads and makes sense because this is what happens like when you're in a hurry. That if you don't really read what you're writing, you will make sloppy and careless mistakes. Yes. So and then people be like, child, they got so many typos on that website. She can't write. It's certainly not a matter of not being able to not write, because those of you who know would know that my degree is actually in professional and technical writing. So if somebody can write, it should be me, right? Oh, Lord. Here, the Air Force Reserve reconnaissance aircraft is scheduled to investigate the system later on this afternoon. Say what? Poor Western Cuba. They're going to be in the potential mix as well. So we are looking at possible development here that will impact us as early as today, later on today. It's so funny how I thought it was going more south. And then, like I said, when I woke up, this morning, I started to see all these messages. I was like, Lord, have mercy. Let us pray. Let us pray. Anyway, thank you guys so much for your patience. I'm just about done here. It just like it was going that way and then it went, changed its mind. Really? What would be the next name? Do we have a list of any of the names for hurricanes this year? We got so much news going on here today. I got to tell you all about something else. That thank you to my lovely regional. So this one has a 90% chance of formation and development. Whew. There's like 3 other systems out there. One is closer to like Bermuda, I think, area. And that one has a 40% chance of developing. And then there's another one further closer off the coast of Africa. That one looks like it recently came off the coast. And that one has a 40% chance of developing as well. But we are, for the one that's 90%, it's like 90%, and we're like very close to it. That's why, it's pretty much developing right over us. And that's why the warning is probably going to come later on today. Okay, I think I can hit the publish button. Folks, forgive me if there are any typos in this story. I do have a little typing program that's supposed to catch my little typos, but it doesn't always. So if I've forgotten a word, I read over the first paragraph just to make sure that made sense. You should get the gist, right? Hopefully. Let me put a little space in here. So don't y'all be messaging me. Message me to correct it. I love to be corrected. Thank you, for sure. But don't be getting your panties in a bunch now just because there's a little typo. Tropical storm warning may be issued for Cayman later today. I think that title catches what's going on, right? All right, now I got to select my little categories. I got to put in a little tag, tropical storm. Yes, boom, boom. Click on add. I will not put any tags. And then I click on publish and boom, the story's up. Now we can inform people. Just be careful. Yes, thank you. Normally during the show, if something's breaking or going on, I do have Renee who can get on it. Big shout out to Renee. She's having a baby. Isn't that beautiful? She's going to be a mother for the first time. That's so wonderful. Really nice, pleasant young lady. I must say she is the most pleasant person to work with. She obviously does not live in the Cayman Islands. And we met through a mutual colleague. And, you always have your hesitations. And the last person that we worked with, she was okay. A little bit of a complainer sometimes, but whatever. I try not to really. I'm just like, focus on the work, Sandy, not the personalities. And we have to pay people to do their work. And then a few months in, she's like, oh, I need a pay raise in the middle of COVID. And I'm like, oh, honey child, where you coming? It was oh, I'm going to send you this document with my demands for a pay raise. And there didn't appear to be any room for negotiation. So I was like, honey, we can't afford your double increase at this time. Hopefully you understand why. We're just a little one-man operation, honey child. Rachel says flooding is the main concern, without a doubt. And Renee is so easy. You just give her something and she just does it. Like, she's so great. And she stays on top of her stuff. During the storm, she was holding down the website while I was trying to get internet and live stream and all that kind of stuff. So it was fantastic. She's really, really super helpful. Good morning, Maria. How are you, my dear? Maria, sorry. Where are you at? You're in the States or are you in Cayman? Yeah, Rachel, I feel like the ground is already saturated here. But, Yeah, Sabrina, can you believe it? Tonight. Isn't that crazy? I'm telling you, it's already like overcast out there. Carol's like, how when we're stuck at work? Well, it is hurricane season. Robert says, Foster's, here we come. I know. What else do y'all need at Foster's? Don't you have enough toilet paper? I mean, I got enough. I'll loan you a roll. I got toilet paper, paper towels. You know what is so funny? I don't know if I have any Spam. But do y'all really cook Spam during a storm anyway? I don't think y'all be cooking that stuff. The other day, my husband said to me, I feel like he said, I feel like some white rice and is it Caribbean people don't call it Spam. What y'all calls it again? I say y'all like I'm not part of the Caribbean. This is where my American upbringing really contradicts my Caribbeanism. What's the can of Spam called? What do Caribbean people call it? I can't remember. Anyway, whatever that's called, he said that a week after Grace, imagine. He said that he felt from that. No, Beverly, I'm not from Jamaica personally. We got Jamaican connections. Oh, good morning. Benilda, good morning, beautiful. She's from the Cayman Bayanihan, which is this Filipino group. They put on a lot of wonderful performances. She says, we always appreciate what you do for the community. Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much. Annette says, Sandy, we in Jamaica are having rain from last night already. Wow. Annette, what part of Jamaica are you in? I'm wondering where it's going to impact Jamaica this time, but oh my gosh, already? Can you share the speed winds on the hurricane strength? Some people say it was a category. Oh, with Grace. Well, funny enough, this weather, what's it called? The weather radar, something hasn't been working for a couple weeks. But I do understand that we have a little friend to the show. He has a little weather. He's a weather, I guess, speed tester thing. I don't know exactly what the instrument is called, but it registered 84 miles per hour, and he's in the vicinity of Hospital Road. So if you're gusting at 84, but I mean, if it gusting, they still wouldn't consider it like sustained. So it still wouldn't have been categorized. But I think we were on the cusp of it transforming from a tropical storm into a hurricane for sure. So that's why it would have been gusting upwards of those speeds. Y'all see the hair kind of looking a little bit crazy today, but it's all right. Big shout out to Rocio. I went to see her on Tuesday. Rocio is at Capelli Beauty Salon. And, you know, we got a little bit of color in, child, because we got to cover up some of those grays. My daughter notices everything. She's only 5 years old, but child, from when she was like 2, like if I went and got a manicure, a pedicure, she'd be like, ooh, color. And now she can talk a lot, y'all. Trust me. She's like, Mommy, I love your bright pink nails or whatever. She's like, oh, you went to the salon. She notices everything. So when the gray starts to come out, she'd be the first to be telling me, oh, Mom, you look like a grandma. I'm like, child, who gave you so much mouth? She's like, you look like a granny. And if I dress like a granny, which, yes, sometimes I probably do, she'll be like, Mommy, that dress looks like a granny. You know, she's very much a fashionista. So Perla says, you know, Sandy, sometimes people think I'm from the Caribbean, not knowing that I'm Spanish. It's good to have that mixture. You look Spanish, honestly. Well, you know, we do have some Spanish mixed up in the family, child. on my grandfather's side, Pa Brown was from Nicaragua. But he would have been us. Oh God, I don't want to get this wrong now. But anyway, I figured down the line we probably got a little bit of Spanish mixed up somewhere down the line as well. But he's from Nicaragua, I think so. No, was it Nicaragua? I'll have to ask a sister or somebody else that would really know. Sue says, I have no idea what's going on here as I still have no internet. You have no internet? OMG. So I can't listen to you or read the news. What? But you're listening right now, right? How are you commenting? Oh, wow. Yes. Well, I must say, first of all, there was a cable. I need to email Offreg. There was some kind of cable between Cayman and Jamaica that was impacted as a result of the hurricane. And that cable, folks, is one of our 2 cables that gives us internet access outside of this country. So we're down to like 50%, I guess, as far as exterior cables go. So heaven forbid, I think the next cable is the one that goes from here to Miami. I'm going to double check the facts on this, but you know what? It's so scary because essentially what this means is we're like at 50% capacity with the one cable being down. And if we get cut off, worst case scenario, we get cut off from the rest of the world, we might have internal communication, but we're not going to be able to get out and get messages, internet, and no one has talked about this. I always find it peculiar how certain things, you just don't hear anything about. Right? So weird. But yes, I have been reliably informed that this internet cable, this undersea internet cable, is non-operational at the moment. It got damaged because of the earthquake, the Haitian earthquake the other day. So I'm gonna message. And I think that has been impacting our internet capacity, especially after the storm. So I think, the telecoms out there doing the most, but no one has actually told y'all that there is this issue with the cable. And that could be some of the reasons why a week later you're still without internet, but still, what's going on? Who's your internet provider? Child, I know Flo has been working overtime. Sue, private message me. Let me see if I can help you, if I can find out specifically what's going on in your area. Athena says it sounds like you're opening up for me to come and raid your kitchen. Child, I better be up in Foster's later on today. Ain't nothing in the kitchen right now. But I'm back to thinking about comfort foods during the storm. I love me a good soup and all sorts of stuff. Big shout out to PD's. They make a corn chowder chicken soup that is to die for. I know for sure it's most Saturdays. I don't know about during the week because I never really checked during the week. But I know that they make it on Saturdays. And my goodness, it is delicious. Corned beef. We call it corned beef? Why do I feel like... Yes. Americans would call it spam, and Caribbean people corn. Anyway, my husband's like, he feel like some corned beef and rice, whatever. I think he was trying to tell me on the down low, honey, can you cook me some corned beef? Can I be honest with you? It's not one of the dishes that I ever really want to cook. I probably haven't cooked it in years, if ever. Have I ever cooked any corned beef? I feel like I probably have, but child, certain things you eat a lot of at certain stages in your life. Like when I was a child, Aunt Lottie, bless her little heart, used to make me these peanut butter and jelly sandwiches a lot. That was my after school snacks and whatever. So, I'd come home from school, 3 o'clock or whatever time we got out. And you had to wake up at the crack of dawn to catch the bus because it was like an hour-long bus ride when I was in elementary school. And then when I got to like middle school, she let me watch her soap operas with her. And I would come home and she'd have like a little snack ready. She was a stay-at-home mom. She worked really hard though. And, I'd come home and she'd have my little snack. She gave me a lot of peanut butter jelly sandwiches. And to this day, I would be hard pressed to ever eat another peanut butter and jelly sandwich in my life. Honestly. I'm like, I've had too many. I'm done. It is not that I didn't enjoy them as a kid, but I just had too many. I'm like, I can't. So as a result of that, my daughter, she's 5 years old. She's never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. She's had peanut butter, like on a little bread roll or whatever, but she's never had peanut butter and jelly yet. And then people like peanut butter, jelly, and bananas. That I'm not into. Never. Miss Judy says corned beef or bulla beef. Yes, but that is different from Spam. Is it? Is it the same thing? Child, y'all know I'm not obviously into corned beef. So Sue had to go to her daughter's house to listen to the press release. Wow. Emma, good morning. Thank you so much. Liz, buenos dias. Buenos dias. Yo aquí escuchando a Miss Sandy todos los días. So basically, for those of you who don't speak no Spanglish or no Espanol, she says, good morning, good morning. I'm here listening. So that's escuchando to Miss Sandy every single day. Todos los días. Muchas gracias, mi amor. Arnell, what's going on? Good morning to you. I'm wishing that everybody keeps safe during the storm. Listening from the Philippines. Hello, Arnell. Inspiring is correcting us that Spanish is from Spain and the language, and the right way to say it is Latino or Hispanic. Oh, thank you for the correction, my dear. And we still say Spanish. Going back to telecom. So you got internet working, but not TV. Let me message my friends over at Flow. They're probably going to ask you for your address. So if you want to DM me some specific details, that would be appreciated. And Carol says that would explain why internet home. It really has been bad. And again, nobody told y'all, so I don't know. Morning, happy National Dog Day. It's National Dog Day. Hey, Tracy. What does Mango have to do with it? Oh, Mango the dog. I was like, Mango. Right. Mango, Daisy, and Asia and I are listening. Okay, the name of her dogs. I saw Mango and I'm like, what? Spam is different from corned beef. Why am I thinking that they're the same? Anyway. Everton says, yes, the reason why is because the cable run in the ocean. So, for example, you have a cable line that runs between Cayman and Jamaica. Yes, and it's the ocean, the same thing. And for a very long time, the government has been saying that, not the government, but OFREG has been saying that we need redundancy in our capacity or internet capacity, like offline, because if that cable is cut, as we've seen in the past, it can get cut. Portions of it can get damaged. We are, in a lot of trouble. So Al says, you eat Spam. Well, I've had it. Spam is a potted meat, was good poor people food. Listen, ain't nobody around here not willing to admit that we grew up poor. Barefoot, kicking rocks in Georgetown. It's all right. You have to own who you are. Like, I love people who like, oh, I've arrived. I've now arrived. And, I can afford this and that. And you're living on credit. You can't really afford it. The bank allows you to afford it. And so I'm a poor Georgetowner. I always tell you all this. Yes, I ate those things. You know, not a big deal. And you eat what you gotta eat. I mean, food. My aunt. I have an aunt. Her name is Adonia. She's 75 years old, by the way. I don't know. I thought she was younger. She's from East End. A lot of people know her as Topsy. And you know them East Enders gonna tell you how it is, child. So, Adonia often says, "Listen, food is one of those things. You just eat it, and a couple hours later, it's gone." So she like, yes, make it taste good and whatever, but don't worry about it too much. And sometimes I kind of feel like, you can't be too incredibly picky about the food. But do you know, Al, speaking of poor people food, there was a time when oxtail was poor people food. Oxtail, because it's like the undesirable part of the ox. Now here's the funny thing. Have y'all checked the price of oxtail recently? Child, it ain't poor people food no more. Everton says spam is different from corned beef. Well, you know what? I need some corned beef. Spam is mainly pork, and corned beef, bully meat, they call it, is supposedly beef. That's what they tell us. I don't know if I believe in them on that one. I'm going to be conspiracy theorists about corned beef. I think, Joy, corned beef is probably still mainly pork, the cheaper meat. I bet there's a whole conspiracy out there to make non-pork eaters eat pork and then just call it corned beef. You feel me? I don't know, man. Yeah, I must say, Al, I don't eat it either at this particular junction. But the fact that my husband kind of requested it, like I said, I thought it was a bit of a, like, I'm asking you to make this for me. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll get motivated to fix it for him. But yeah, I don't even want my daughter trying it. Like I try to keep her away from, the little packages that kids, what do they call them? They come in the little package, like you can make almost like your little own mini pizza, and you layer on the little cheese and all that kind of stuff. What are those called? Oh God, I can't remember. But anyway, I try to keep away from those things because it's all processed meat. And we know that processed meat has all these nitrates and unhealthy things causing all sorts of cancers. See, the conspiracy theories never want to tell you about the dangers of eating processed meat. But anyway, guess who is here? Guess who is in the house? Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Sandra. How's everything on your end?
What's up, my friend? We're good.
It's been pretty busy on my end, trying to keep up with what I do that pays my bills, as well as just keep up with everything else I'm involved in.
Thank you. We try to stay away from Lunchables. Although they do have the healthy version of Lunchables. I saw them the other day. They're like $7 for the little Lunchables. And so I did buy her one of those because she's always asking, can I get one of those? So I bought it. And then, you know what is so funny? Kids have a lot of common sense these days, because she looked at it and could see that the packaging was different. So this one has no preservatives, no nitrates, whatever. And she said, ooh, is this the healthy version, Mama? She's so funny. And I said, yes, it is. For a minute there, she kept telling us that she was vegan, but she was still eating chicken. I was like, this poor child. Miss Carol says corned beef, cabbage with red potatoes and carrots. I think I might cook some of that later. I don't think I've ever actually cooked that dish before, but you know what? I'm going to try it because I do have a Jamaican husband. So at least once a year, he can eat some corned beef. Well, this will be the first time I'm cooking it for him in like 8 years. So, Kevin, what is going on, my friend? This weather system coming for us.
Yeah,
whoa,
well,
what is this?
You got a little bit of weather that's kind of in the area. This one, unlike the previous one that you and I were talking about and sharing with everyone, is a lot harder to predict because it's not yet organized. The airplanes are going to be going in there, or at least the airplane is going to be going in there sometime this afternoon to kind of investigate and see really what's going on. There's really not a whole lot of data from looking at it that really gives any bit of certainty. So here you see Cayman is definitely within the possible area for development. It can develop anywhere within this kind of red area, but again, the data is very inconsistent. But what we do know for sure, Cayman is in for some yucky weather is what I'm going to call it. It's not going to be the most pleasant weather. However, again, this should not come from me, but it should come from, the official forecasters in the Cayman Islands. But my gut feeling is telling me that this is not going to be, at least for Cayman, quite as bad as your last system. But at the same time, you still need to always overly prepare just a bit, because it's easier to be overly prepared and be okay than just get completely caught off guard. And the reason I'm saying that is because within at least the information I do have is showing some, like, this thing is like, it will become a tropical storm. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that this will become a tropical storm. It's all about exactly when it's going to become a tropical storm. And so this thing will likely become a tropical storm, most likely by the next update. Once the aircraft planes go inside, the reconnaissance aircraft go in there and investigate a bit more, they'll probably find exactly where the center is. And so sometime within the next 12 to 24 hours, you'll get that tropical storm official name. Right now, based on, again, the current information, it is predicted to end up developing into a hurricane, but that's looking to be somewhere beyond 2, possibly 3 days away. By that time, it should be beyond the Cayman area, unless, again, it develops a little bit more to the east, closer to Jamaica, and then it hangs around in the area. That is still a possibility, but it's less likely of a possibility than it developing within the next 24, the next 12 hours even, and then continuing to push across. So Cayman might experience some tropical storm force winds, and one of the things people need to really think of is those boaters. Make sure you get your boats in safe harbor. Shouldn't be out there in the sea, especially on the southern coast. Anywhere from the east, south, and west, stay away. Get them away from those areas, because the system is currently to the southeast, but it's going to track toward the south and then eventually the southwest and to the west. So that's where the system is really centered at this time, and where it's definitely going to be at. So don't go fishing within the next couple of days. Not a wise thing.
That's for sure.
In a boat, at least.
That's for sure. So, sorry. This is what we're looking at here, folks. At this time, some rainfall coming into our life yet again. Not quite what we had last week. So there is a severe weather bulletin that has been issued as of 7 a.m. this morning. We're looking at some rainfall for sure, 2 to 3 inches between Thursday and Friday. That's today and tomorrow. And then maybe Friday and Saturday, 2 to 3 more inches. So, yes, honey child, get on it. Kevin, thank you so much. You're just such a pleasure to have on the program. I'm going to start calling you CMR's official weatherman.
Again,
I love it.
This time of year, everyone just needs to always be prepared, because we just never know when things are going to pop up. It's something that you're always told, and a lot of times, when I was growing up, we always had the warnings. Oh yeah, something's coming, and then it doesn't end up coming. Well, there's always that possibility, and so we just got to remember that it is a possibility, and so you want to keep yourself safe, you want to keep your family safe, and so it's very important to always, during hurricane season, to be ready. Forecasters don't always get it right, and sometimes things just kind of happen very quickly. Last year especially, we had some storms that you had what they called rapid intensification, where one day it was like a depression, by the next day, less than 24 hours, you're looking at a Cat 3 hurricane.
Yes, that's crazy.
That's extremely crazy. Yes, with this system, it doesn't seem like that is a likely thing, just like the last one. That was definitely not even a situation. I will say sometime between the next 3 to 4 days, there is a little higher chance of what you would call a little bit of rapid intensification. Again, by that time, if it develops again within a very short period of time and it does continue to move, it will be away from Cayman. So we might not have to worry about it. Someone else will likely have to worry about that.
In the direction it's going, it could be potentially an issue for Florida, maybe.
Very
or
low
Texas.
No, what's happening over Florida? There is a current low pressure
Okay.
that's in that area, and then a little bit above that is a high pressure.
So that's going to push it away.
It's going to push it in the Gulf. The areas that really got to worry about this one primarily is going to be somewhere in the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, straight on up to maybe the Panhandle area, but very western part of Florida. So anywhere in that Gulf Stream area, Texas would be in that area. But the more east is less likely. Somewhere more like Texas, straight on down to the Yucatan, that's really the areas that have to pay a lot closer attention to it. Within the next, looking at my info here, it looks like somewhere between the next 48 to 72 hours from now is when it looks like it's going to really have what you call an increase in strength, looking at to be a possible category 1, 2, and some models are even showing a category 3. Very few models are showing that, but some models are saying that it has a chance of becoming a major hurricane once it's in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, exactly where it goes, don't know. If it's going to be that strong, there's so much that could go on between now and then. That is not exactly, that is not confirmed. That's just a suspicion based on some of the forecast computers that is putting in all of the data that they currently have. A lot of good data is really going to come out this afternoon once the aircraft goes inside there, measure winds, measure a bunch of things that's inside there. And so by this afternoon, they're going to have a better idea of what's really going on with this system. But a lot of the information is not yet known. This is one of the things what I love our Cayman Islands National Weather Service. They are very, very smart people and they know what they're doing. I can tell you that they do. But one of the things that I believe is missing in Cayman is something that we call risk communication and letting people know exactly, you might not be 100%, but give them some possibilities so people can make better and informed decisions with their lives. It's not meant to scare anyone. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but at the same time, you can make a good judgment based on having that information. And so, unfortunately, I don't hear a lot of that coming out pre-storm and even post-storm from the other agencies that need to be doing some of that. And I really want to see that change in Cayman. I know there's a lot of great communication professionals there. And so I'm hoping they're getting the message that this is something that's missing in Cayman. You don't need to wait for a government official to give that message because it's all about the right message from the right person at the right time that saves lives. That's exactly the method that I use personally, as well as many of my communication professionals here in Florida. So we want to make sure we're sending out those messages to people to keep them informed so they don't feel confused. And I'm hoping to see that change in Cayman a bit. I'm encouraged that it will. But that's just what I know.
Yes.
And I'll leave it there.
All right. Well, Kevin, we appreciate you very, very much. Love your willingness to come in the program. Perla says, thank you, Kevin.
Not a problem. Again, I am not an official forecaster. I am not the authority. Please, what I say is my personal interpretation. I want to make that extremely clear.
Yes.
So official communication must come from, the officials that are to give that message. I am just here providing some of my opinions based on some of my experience.
Thank you. We appreciate the disclaimer, my friend. All right, darling, have a good one.
All right. Well, I'm going to run. I have a really busy day. Got a lot of COVID stuff that's going on here in Florida that I have to, again, get back to. But I did see a little note and stuff, and I just wanted to make sure that I at least get a few words out and stuff. And hope everyone have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Kev. Bye.
See ya.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you. Kevin is awesome. So former weatherman for Cayman 27, now collaborating with CMR whenever he can, doing community service, really. We appreciate him. So thank you guys so much. I see we're still talking about corned beef and corn hash and meatloaf. And so Carol is making some meatloaf with mashers. Oh. I don't think I've ever really made that either. Is it like you're doing the meatloaf and the mashed potatoes together or just like as a separate dish? But meatloaf and mashed potatoes together, not like mixed in, but just as a dish, delicious. I don't know what it is about that combination. Carol, other chefs in the house, Don't forget, we have a cooking show coming. Y'all need to get on board. I need you all to start cooking, not just me. And we're going to come in your kitchen and we're going to cook with you and we're going to have a conversation. It's going to be tons of fun. Carol, I'm curious. Have you ever, we need to have a little segment called Have You Ever cooked meatloaf in a bundt pan? Let me tell you, I have a recipe and it is delicious. OMG. But bundt pans, are not just for baking. A lot of people think, oh, it's just for baking. No. Now, you can do more than just a bundt cake in a bundt pan. You can do anything. Like, I feel like there should be a whole bundt pan recipes. So y'all know what a bundt pan cake, a bundt pan is, right? It's the one that gives that cake that kind of round look, the hole in the middle. I'm trying to find a picture for you. I think most of you know what a bundt pan is. Yes. But look at this. You can do anything in a bundt pan, including recipes. So I discovered this years ago, and I started doing my meatloaf in a bundt pan. And I do lasagna in a bundt pan, and there's just something about having it in that shape. First of all, with the lasagna, it's awesome because you can use the lines in the bundt to like just cut it nice and neat. And look at, oh my God. It is so delicious. See, this one says bundt pans are not just for cakes. Ooh, mac and cheese in a bundt pan? Oh my God, what? Wow, I hadn't thought of that one before, but that seems quite logical. Banana bread with chocolate glaze. Ooh, honey child, that is making me 10 pounds heavier just looking at it. What is sartu de riso? This sounds like a fun Italian. So it's Italian sausage, rice, and of course, homemade tomato sauce. The traditional Italian dish is stuffed with, never had it. Can I get one of my Italian friends to make this for me? Carrot cake monkey bread. Oh, yes, that looks divine. Avocado tuna melt and a bundt pan. Wow. Lemon velvet cake. Oh, the cakes are just divine. A bird feeder. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Huh. Twinkie bundt cake. Wow. This I want to try. I don't like Twinkies. That's another. Al is talking about poor people food. Twinkies is somehow I feel like they're so incredibly healthy. But I think maybe I've had one Twinkie in my life. But this recipe kind of looks like something I might eat. Y'all know I got a sweet tooth. Jalapeno poppers, sorry. Sausage, egg, and cheese bundt. I could see that. Avocado chocolate cake. Herb and cheese monkey bread. Now this I'm feeling as a recipe. Can we make some of these? But listen, meatloaf and lasagna. You can do roast chicken too. What? Oh my God, these recipes look delicious. Anyway, y'all making me hungry. I'm making myself hungry, truth be known, looking at all these yummy recipes. But Carol, try that meatloaf in a bundt pan, I'm telling you. So Al says, irony of things is everything made for poor people keeps them sick. Their hard-earned money goes to doctors. There is so much truth in that, Al. I cannot argue with you, my brother. Eating healthy isn't cheap. Getting access to healthier food options. But with backyard gardening and those types of things, like teaching people the tools of how to do it themselves, can lead to a healthier lifestyle. So yes, I agree. Paul from Bermuda says corned beef with fried onions and white rice. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure that that's what he wants on the menu. Carol, Perla wants to know if she can have a plate. Last night, corned beef and veggies Celine had. Nice. Carol said that she's had to learn how to make meatloaf. Absolutely. Tracy, good morning. Yeah, we enjoy having Kevin. He's a nice young man. Thinking about putting the mashers on top and a little bit of gravy. Yes, it really, I'm not sure why it tastes different just because of how, like, what instrument it's cooked in. But I tell you, it's very, very good. Oh my God. Mashed potatoes with sour cream. Oh my God. I have this mashed potato recipe. It's like restaurant style. So it's not like super whipped. Like it's not smooth. It still has the potato lumps and whatever, but oh my God, it's so good. So delicious. And I tell you, you can legit eat it all day long. When I make it, everybody's like, oh my God, Sandy, this is so good. Yes, Miss Carol, get yourself a butt pan. I'm telling you, it is one of the most interesting things that you can use in the kitchen. Grow your own. That's what I'm saying. Loretta, good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, let's talk about something else that's making headlines this morning. A young man has been extradited from the UK. Lord have mercy. What did I just say? One of her own extradited? Now, speaking of extradition, I have no problems with them extraditing him because I think justice must be served. However, I do believe that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So we're going to extradite him. He's only 27 years old. Very unfortunate that he's made some poor decisions in his life. But, you know, that's how the cookie crumbles. Now, I want the thief, the alleged thief, let me be very precise, alleged thief from UCCI to likewise be extradited from America. Okay? Here you know. So this young man, you guys might remember the original story that we did, Levar Wood, back in September of 2019. I kind of wondered what had happened in this situation. And he killed his best friend, Giovanni Berry, who was 27 years old, in an early morning fatality back in 2019. This was 2019, right? Yeah, September of 2019. Nice young man. I know that people really felt the loss. Right in Belford Estates, he was apparently overtaking a vehicle, is what is alleged. And he lost control and hit one of the cars that he was overtaken. And of course, his friend unfortunately died. And the police had to instruct him to stop. And he actually failed to stop. And there was an entire pursuit that was going on. So go back and read the original story, child, because it is very, very interesting and sad. Now, poor little Levar here. He's, as you can see, he's wearing a pilot's uniform. He was actually a pilot for Cayman Airways. He was, I think he did the jets between Cayman and Little Cayman, like the smaller planes, right? Just a sad situation all the way around. His father was also a police officer, we understand. So anyway, he was permitted to leave the island, which is a little interesting, and decided to skip out on us. Ooh, honey child, what he did that for? I guess the authorities are like, oh, no. You will be coming back to stand justice. And you know what is so hurtful is I often see people who were related to the young man who lost his life commenting on social media that there has been no justice for him, which is so sad. Well, it looks like justice might be coming. That's all I can tell y'all. It might be coming because they have extradited him and he has now arrived They got him back, folks. The saying says you can run, but you can't hide. So there you go. 27-year-old has been extradited from the United Kingdom, and now he's going to be charged. And I mean, listen, if Giovanni was his best friend, I'm sure he must have regrets, without a doubt. But, folks, actions come with consequences. So, unfortunately, even if you're hurting and you have regrets, you made a poor decision. And it cost somebody their life and their family. I'm trying to remember. I think this young man was recently married. He might have a child. I can't remember all the details now, but there's a lot of people that will be impacted by this. So he arrived on island yesterday and was immediately charged by the police with causing death by dangerous driving. And he will be appearing in court today. So he probably is going to appear for like 10 o'clock. So the police said, as part of our policing priorities to relentlessly tackle the perpetrators of crime, we have done all we could to ensure that the offender in this case is brought to justice. This is Detective Superintendent Peter Lansdowne. On behalf of the RCAPS, I'd like to thank the UK NCA Extradition Unit for their assistance in locating and returning this man. Child, you can run, but you can't hide, even in the UK. So unfortunately, folks, this young man is back and will be appearing in court today. It is just incredibly sad, but it is what it is, right? So the other thing, like I said, I really hope that they're going to be extraditing some other folks as well, because you know, like I said, everyone should, if you've done something wrong, if you've allegedly committed a crime, then you should have to deal with the consequences of that. Everton. Oh Lord, here we go already. Pentagon just confirmed there's an explosion at Kabul airport. Things are getting rough now because we're pulling out. So there's a dangerous place. Yes. Wow. Somebody put up a thing yesterday on Instagram. Was it Instagram? And they said something like trillions of dollars, 20 years, and 4 presidents to change the Taliban with the Taliban. It's crazy. My fear is, as they have this mass exodus outside of Afghanistan, of course, I feel for those people. But at the same time, mixed into that bunch will be some of the Taliban and some of the jihadists, whatever the heck they call themselves. The crazies that we don't want to be floating around the world. But then, you can't really stop it at some level, right? They always seem to find a way. But of course, now everything's going to be red alert, heightened alert. Trust me, travel between terrorism and COVID just isn't even fun anymore. So there was some report that the head of the CIA had some secret meeting with the head of the Taliban. Maybe the thing is to try to engage them in meaningful dialogue. Maybe they're not as crazy as we think. I'm just saying, maybe there's hope to downplay the craziness. Of course, women are one of the high-risk groups because they believe in a very strict regiment for women. And the most disgusting part of what they believe is in child brides, like children, and these Taliban leaders and militants and followers want to marry a little 9-10-year-old child as a wife for sexual purposes. That's disgusting. And, some women were already fearful of attending university for fear of what might be happening to them. It's just unbelievable, really. So do we engage them in hopes of hoping that they could be a little bit more moderate than crazy? I don't know. I guess there's nothing wrong with dialogue, but I don't think that certain people have any interest in changing, right? So, you just can't trust any and everything. So, hi, Debbie. She says the Taliban is cray cray. Someone said, can you put a suggestion out to the CAA or BA in command to ask passengers to come in early for the flight scheduled this evening for 8 p.m.? This would allow the plane to leave and airport workers to get home. Makes sense as the plane is sitting at the airport waiting and came in last night. It would be a nightmare for many students not to be able to leave tonight. Okay. I will send this straight away to the governor's office. And I'm sure they'll probably issue something about that. I think that's a wonderful idea. Why not? So, folks, look at what someone just sent me that's happening in town right now, a little bit earlier this morning at 8:55. We got cows on the loose right in central Georgetown. This is the kind of thing that sometimes I think only in the Cayman Islands do you see something like this. Cows on the loose, folks. Look at it. What a hot mess. There's the little cows. Looks like they're trying to get to that restaurant over there. I'm pretty sure that they won't be having any corned beef or chicken. But anyway, little funny. Hopefully they can be rounded up pretty quickly, because if you're not careful, child, they can cause a little accident. And nobody wants an accident on their hands. So yes, cows in the middle of town. Hopefully they don't damage anybody's cars. There's like 3 of them. Do you see them? Oh, let me show you the other picture. There's 2 brown ones, and it looks like a big black cow. Sometimes people, you see the little cord right there that's in the street, their little rope. Sometimes people put them there. There's a lot that's very close to the vicinity of Cayman National Bank in that area. And people put like cows and horses and that sort of stuff in the vicinity there in that little pasture. So just be mindful if you're driving in that area, please. Hopefully they'll be rounded up pretty quickly. I've seen goats on the loose, cows, horses. Sometimes they start walking about, child. They're not content just to stand in one place all the time. So it is what it is. Cows on the loose. Be careful. All right, my good people. What do we got here? Carol says a tiger doesn't change its stripes. Do we really believe that? I want to have that conversation one day. Because there's this whole thing about can people really change? Because if we say they can't, are we not dooming them to that behavior forever? If we don't believe that people can change, if we don't believe that a tiger can change its stripes, I'll have you know that the governor's office has already responded and said they're looking at options. They're very quick. I love having direct contact with them because they're like pronto, on it. CMR, what's up them? And they're like, we know you got the pulse of the community here. So if you're traveling to the UK or you know anyone who is, folks, please ensure that they keep an eye on the news in terms of that BA flight because of the pending weather. Carol says, yeah, that happens in Wisconsin all the time. Tracy, that is the funniest thing. She said maybe they're looking for stolen milk crates being used for the milk crate challenge going viral. OMG. Let's talk about the press briefing tomorrow. So today's Thursday. Remember I told you guys a couple days ago that I was supposed to be in court tomorrow? Well, that has been changed. The judge has postponed it. And because today I was actually going to be focusing the show on John Felder and all the documents that we've been publishing, but we're not done publishing the documents. So this is kind of a bit of good news that it has been delayed because we've gotten through 3 documents so far: a termination letter, a cease and desist letter from attorneys, and a settlement deed and what the heck is it called? A settlement deed and release letter. We still have more to come, believe it or not. And then I'm going to wrap it all up for all of you for it to all make sense in terms of what this is all about and what's really going on. Just before we leave the program this evening, the RCIPS has responded to the pepper spraying incident with the family. And this is what they have said. Okay? Remember, this is the disabled young man who has Down syndrome. He's 16 years old. So they said that the teen became aggressive and verbally abusive towards the officers, making threats against them. And during the exchange, the teen walked away from the officers, went into the mother's vehicle where he retrieved a machete, which he then began using to threaten and attack the officers. Another civilian, who was also present as the West Bay Police Station, was ushered inside for their safety as officers called for assistance. At the same time, the brother of the teen arrived at the West Bay Police Station and disarmed the teen without incident. So they do admit that the teen was disarmed. However, this is now where their version of the story is a little bit different than what we heard from the family. So, hold on one second. So they now say that they now say that the officers then informed the family that the teen, who suffers from mental disability, was being arrested for several offenses that he committed during his time at the West Bay Police Station, at which time the brother also became aggressive towards the police. They both aggressively approached one of the police officers, assisting with the incident, and the officer deployed his pepper spray in response. The mother, who was the initial complainant in the matter, then also intervened and was caught by the pepper spray that was being deployed. So they make it sound like, she wasn't intentionally sprayed. She was just a bystander that as she came in the vicinity of the pepper spray, she got, I don't know. I've never used pepper spray before. How specific can you be with the pepper spray? But anyway, all 3 parties were arrested on suspicion of several public order offenses, including causing fear or provocation of violence, threats to kill, possession of an offensive weapon, and disorderly conduct at a police station. All 3 were immediately decontaminated and booked into custody, and they've been granted bail pending further investigations. Wow. All I can tell you is it's a hot mess. It's sad. And a hot mess all at the same time. I still feel like this could have been handled better. I do understand what the police are saying on the one hand. On the other hand, I could also sympathize with why the other brother would have been getting upset that you're going to arrest his handicapped brother, his 16-year-old disabled brother. I'm told that handicap is not politically correct. Disabled. So, it's additional information, which I think is useful. But I also wonder, couldn't the police have taken a different approach? Like, you're going to arrest a child, nonetheless, with Down syndrome, a disabled child. And you don't think that that would upset? Listen, most parents are going to get upset with just arresting a regular child. But a disabled child, what are you going to do with the child? Put him in a cell with who? You're going to send him to prison with who? You know, I could see how even the idea of a disabled person, especially a child, being arrested would make family very upset, in fact. I don't know. Anyway, the police have made their statement. And of course, we wanted to share that on the program with you all, since we did spend a considerable amount of time yesterday actually discussing the situation. So, Carol, I don't think that they have much in the way of training with even regular people, much less disabled people. Such a shame, really. But good folks, stay tuned for any storm updates. We will certainly keep all of you informed as we know more. Official weather sources is who we will be obviously getting all of our information from. And as they, inform us, we will inform you. And at this point, I would say just prepare. It's not going to obviously be anything major, but it will be a system to keep an eye on. And at the very least, in my opinion, you should make some preparations around the house, see what you can clean up in terms of around the yard, the trees, and so on. So someone has just said that there are road works on Lakeside. And so now there is delays in that area. So if you're going to take West Bay Road today, take the other road, the old West Bay Road. Otherwise, I don't know how long this will be going on for, but this is the current situation there. This is that pole right by Lakeside that split into two. Yes, honey child. So this is your traffic alert, brought to you only by CMR. Boy, we bring y'all some alerts here. Cow alert, traffic alert, accident alert. So this is it right now. You're going to be sitting in traffic for a minute if you're taking the Esterly Tibbetts bypass. So avoid it if you can, really. But yeah, that pole, did y'all see that pole? Like, it snapped and it's just been leaning over all this time. I was like, whoa. Aliano says, should we expect better in both sides, but one side should wield responsible? But we, an imported set of wannabe tough men, and what should be on that, what we paid for, shame. Yeah, well, Carol, yes, thank God that, this is where people are trigger happy that this could happen. So yes, I mean, we weren't there, obviously. Like I said, I hope they have some camera footage at the station, but it's just a shame because probably arresting the young man, the mother never envisioned that being what was going to take place. I'm sure of that, or she would have never taken her son to the facility. Let's just be honest here, right? She would have never taken the son there. Anyway, folks, do be safe today. I've got my orthopedic appointment with the specialists that have come in from the UK a little bit later on this afternoon. So we're going to have a look at the shoulder and at the knee, and we'll get some guidance on kind of what we can do to hopefully start to alleviate some of the pain. Yes, thank you, Carol, for joining the show. Let us know how that meatloaf was a little bit later on. Meatloaf and mash. Folks, be blessed always. We are a beautiful people. We're a beautiful country. We have so many wonderful people here in our community from all walks of life and all over the place. I'm all about inclusiveness, two very different words, but you all also know that I'm a Caymanian first. And so everything I do, I say, let's put Caymanians at the forefront of our policy decisions, at anything that we're doing to better our country. And you treat your own people right, I think you're always inclined to treat other people right as well. Don't abuse people. It's just not the way to do it, right? So I will speak to you guys a bit later on. Yes. And just be safe out there. Drive and take your time to go wherever it is that you're going. Until tomorrow, well, we'll probably be checking in a little bit later on with the weather. But our regular show will be back tomorrow morning at 7:30, kicking it off with KISS 106.1.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.